you know the details of data analysis, and you can have a general overview of what we can do using data analysis. So sometimes it's magic. Okay, so I will show you some examples. And I also share the articles with you in the WeChat. Okay, I share this article with you. Can you see the article in the tool? Yeah. Okay. You can read it in the WeChat or here. You go through the article and see what quantitative data analysis is used in this study. This is about you because it's researching international students in China. It's not necessary for you to go through the details. You just see what data analysis used in this study. Okay, for example, you can take a look at the figures and the tables. Okay, the instructional language. And the English, the clock. Nobody has the clock. No. Yeah. The Mandarin. Yeah. And these figures. So that can tell me what data analysis used in this study. What's this? What's this? Like these numbers. What are they? What are they? All the numbers you see in this article are like what? Like the means, right? The percentage, right? Yeah, percentage or the means or the total number. So all of these numbers in this study. So what method is used to report, to present these statistics? How do we call this? No, I don't mean the shape of these tables, figures. I mean the data analysis. What's data analysis? Yes, that's it. We call it what? All of these are descriptive data analysis. Descriptive data analysis. So using descriptive data analysis, we can compute what? is predictive. We can compute means, right? Yeah. We can compute the means. We can compute standard, maybe the standard deviation. Short form, SD, standard deviation. We can compute like the percentage. Yeah. So all of these are descriptive data analysis. So in this article, is this article a quantitative study? So of course, it's quantitative study. It mainly uses the descriptive data analysis. So this is one type. But after showing this article, I also want you to know that in quantitative method, this is the basic level of data analysis in quantitative studies. You know what I mean? I mean that in quantitative study, we seldom use numbers or compare numbers, or we say, for example, 6 is larger than 5. 6 is larger than 5, or we say 3 is larger than 1. This is what? This is descriptive, right? But in quantitative study, we pay less attention to the comparison of these numbers because they do not have the significance. They do not have the significance. So in quantitative study, we mainly use or we pay more attention to the significance, level. We pay attention, for example, we say, what? For example, motivation is significantly, for example, boy students' motivation is significantly higher than the motivation of the girl students. Right? Yeah, we seldom say or we pay little attention to, for example, boys' mean scores of boys' motivation is 3.5. And girls' motivation is 3. So basically, I can say boys' motivation is stronger than girls' motivation, right? Yeah, this is what? This is quantitative, right? Of course, this is quantitative, but we pay more attention to the significance, which means, I may say, boys' motivation is significantly higher than girls' motivation. So this is significant, but how to present or how to reveal the significance? How to reveal the significance? What? Yes, of course, we through statistical method. What statistical method? But how can we know it reached the significance level? How can we know that? This is significance. It's significant. How do you know that? So we use what? We use, this, we use p-value. Not heard of p-value? Yeah, p-value. Um, is there a drawing board where I can write? Yeah, yes. Ah, okay, 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 thank you so much, that's better. And I can erase, right, okay. Okay. Huh? Right. This one. Right.
Now, right. You can write that. You can write that.
Now I can write, right? Ah, so we use p-value to represent the significance. We use p-value to represent the significance. And we have three levels of the significance. But there is one asterisk. There is one asterisk. It means p is smaller than 0.05. If you want to do the quantitative study, you must know this. This is very basic seen in quantitative study. So I will explain later. So when p value is smaller than 0.05, it's significant and represented by one asterisk. When there are two asterisks, it means the p-value is smaller than 0.01. When p-value is smaller than 0.01, it represented by two asterisks. When p-value is smaller than 0.001, it is represented by three. Represented by three asterisks. Can you take a guess? Which of them is more significant? Three, right? The smaller the p-value, more significant. Yeah. So remember, we have three levels of significance, represented by 1, 2, 3 asterisks respectively. When they are smaller than 0.05, 0.01, 0.001. Yeah, so 3. When we conduct descriptive data analysis, is their significance. in descriptive data analysis is their significance. Is there? No. Yeah, we have only numbers, right? We can go through the you can see all the tables, all the figures. There is no significance, right? There are only numbers. Only numbers, but there is no significance. Okay. But anyway, this is one type of quantitative article. That is. Now I show you next one. And also through the WeChat. Okay. Now you go through this article and you do not have to pay attention to the details. You just see what method is used, what data analysis is used. Yeah. So now you take a look. Tell me what is the major difference between the two. What is the difference from the descriptive data analysis? See the difference? This is what? Yeah, this is explanatory. Yeah, explaining what?
Here is testing the relationship between the variables.
Yeah, it's explaining the relationships between the variables, right? Yeah, good for you. By what? Through what? How can we know they are related? How can we know they are related? Correlation, what? Yeah. How, okay, next question. How can we know they are related? They are correlated. How can we know they are correlated? What? Mean? Mean scores can tell us the relationship. Coefficient. Yeah, coefficient. Yeah. Well, you see the coefficient. What else can you see? For example, here. For example, here, this is what? This is descriptive, right? Yeah, we have the mean scores of the variables. Yeah, we have the standard deviations of the variables. This is descriptive. But in here, you can see, as you said, the correlations and the relationships, right? Yeah, and you told me that what can tell us the relationships, the correlations, the coefficients, right? But merely coefficient cannot tell us they are significantly related or they are not significantly related. More obviously, what can tell us they are related? Can you see some what? Did you see these these asterisks? These asterisks, just the asterisks I show you. Yeah, these asterisks represent p-values. Represent p-values. As you see here, two asterisks means p-value is smaller than 0.01. Yeah. Three asterisks means p-value is smaller than 0.001. Yeah. So what is the most obvious signal of the significance? Asterisks. P-value. Yeah. So when you read quantitative articles, try to find the asterisks. Even you have no idea how the data analysis is conducted, you will understand the result through the p-values, through the asterisks. Yeah, you can know, you can understand the result. Yeah, so here, for example, we know all of these numbers followed by asterisks, right? And we all know that they are correlated, right? They are correlated. Yeah. For example, this coefficient, 0.28, followed by two asterisks. It means what? How do we interpret this coefficient? Anyone try to interpret? Okay. Two asterisks. How to interpret this number? Yeah, but we don't say who influenced. And we say they are correlated. Yeah. Who is correlated? Which two variables are related? WTC and openness, right? It means openness and what? Openness and WTC, it means willingness to communicate in second language. And this is WTC. It means openness is correlated with willingness. Yeah, they are positively correlated, right? Yeah, so it means that. Okay, for number negative 0.34. How do we understand this coefficient? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You see, this number is what? It's the correlation between WTC and the 3, right? 3 means 1 with anxiety, right? Yeah. So negative, this number, this coefficient means WTC is negatively correlated with 1 with anxiety. Right? Yeah, so some variables, they may be positively correlated. They may be negatively correlated. But I just want you to know that this article is different from the first one. Right? They are different, right? This is what? This article is represented by significance. This is more like a quantitative study. Yeah, because in quantitative study, it more attention to the significance. So it's a, for example, 3 is larger than 1. Is that important? Of course, it's important. It's important. But in quantitative study, what matters more? What matters more is the significance level. Remember this. Remember this. Okay, this is correlation. This is what? This is what? This is a regression. This is a regression because here you can see this is theoretical multiple regression. Regression. We use regression for what? Why we conduct regression analysis? We use regression prediction. For prediction, we use regression to predict. For example, I can use A to predict B. For example, I have two variables. One variable is academic motivation. Academic motivation. The other variable is your academic performance. Motivation and performance. Normally, which is the predictor? Motivation, right? Motivation is normally used as the predictor. Predictor. We call predictor also independent variable, right? Yeah. So this article, there is what? There is significance, right? There is significance, and they also use what? Prediction. Use prediction. Prediction. So in quantitative study, predictor is also independent. Variable, right? Yeah, because we use independent variables as the predictors. We have predicted variables. We have predicted variables. Okay, now you can tell me academic motivation and academic performance. Normally, which is the predicted variable? Academic performance, right? Yeah. So as you just mentioned, normally we hold the belief or we hold the view that our motivation may affect our performance, right? Yeah, that's why we use motivation as the predictor. We use the performance as the predicted variable. And predicted variable, we also say it is what? It is outcome variable, right? It is outcome variable. And it is what? Dependent. Dependent variable. So you have the basic concept in quantitative study. You already work. It is, and you all know. Yeah, so you got to know. Okay, predictor, independent, predictive variable, if you also outcome variable, they all dependent variables. Okay, so now you see what? In this article, this is what? In comparison to number one, this article could be more about quantitative study, right? More nuanced because it involves prediction. It involves significance. For the one, so you for the second one, you have to know how to conduct the analysis, how to conduct correlation, how to conduct regression. Yeah. And all of these we are going to discuss how to do the analysis, how to report, and how to interpret the results. We'll discuss them later.
Or is it always an independent variable, or sometimes can it be an independent?
It depends on how you treat this variable. For example, in this article, it's merely predictor. But in the other article, it could be the outcome. It could be the mediator. Yeah, it depends on how you conduct or how you design.
Or how
Your-
the variable?
Yeah, yeah. For example, academic motivation. In that example, motivation and performance. Academic motivation is the predictor. Yeah, but I also want to know what variables could influence academic motivation. Yeah, we could also examine, investigate what variables could predict academic motivation. Right? For example, your family, environment, your school policy may also influence how you are, or may also predict your academic motivation. So in that article, motivation, academic motivation is the outcome. Yeah. So it depends, it all depends and see how you treat these variables and how you design your study. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I have a question for you to consider, but now you may not give me the answer. You can consider this question, and make what we talk about data analysis, we can get that. So what is correlation? Correlation. Through correlation, we can know whether A is correlated with B. B, for example, this. We already know through correlation, we already know A or B, whether they are correlated. Now, whether they are correlated. Is this the result we are trying to identify? Is this so? Why do we have to conduct regression analysis? So you know what I mean? Through correlation, we already know the relation, right? We already know the relation because we know the asterisks, we know the p-values, right? Through the correlation, we already know the relationships, the correlations of these variables. But why do we have to conduct regression? Is regression necessary? Is regression necessary? The question is, since correlation already tells us the relationships, why do we have to conduct regression analysis? What's the difference? Okay, this is a very interesting question. Many, even scholars, many scholars, they know, oh, I have to conduct both, right? Both correlation and regression, but they may not be clear why they have to do both. You can consider this question. Okay, now let's come to the regression analysis. Try to figure out what the findings, the results. We try to interpret the results. What are the major findings of this article? Try to interpret the findings. What this table tells. Try, just have a try. Yeah. Okay, I show some major statistics. For example, number, what this number tells, you can still see the asterisks, right? Yeah. Well, what this number? 0.24. What this number tells us? Coefficient. What coefficient? This number here, this number can reveal what? Can we? Two, which two?
Yes, the table, the first and the four, first and the WTC and final grade.
Okay, I know what you mean. So for this regression, which is the dependent variable? Which is the dependent variable? Which is the dependent variable? Dependent. No. You can see theoretical multiple regression results for WTC. Yeah, so you can see here variable. All of them are what? Yes, they are all independent variables, right? Also, they are all predictors, right? Which is the dependent variable? Reading is right. Yeah, which means they also use all of these predictors to predict readings, right? Okay, now I ask you again, what does this number mean? We use them to predict readings. What this number means? This number represents what? Represents grade, right? And it is significant. It means what? It represents final grades, and it is significant. So final grade. Yes, that's it. That's it. It means final grade is a significant predictor of all readings. Yeah, now you can understand that. How about this one? Negative. Okay, how about this one? Try to integrate. Negative 0.19. So this coefficient represents language anxiety level. So, and it is also significant. So it means language anxiety is also a predictor, a significant predictor of readiness, right? Yeah, but it is negative. Yeah, it's negatively predictor of readiness. Well, we say it's positive it means what? As A is increasing, B is increasing as well. Well, we say it's negative. It means, well, A is increasing, B will decrease, right? So they are negative. So now you can interpret the result. You can, right? Yeah, you can. So all of them are predictors, are significant predictors of readings, of readings. Yes. You use too much time for the two articles. Okay. Because all of these are what we are going to. I show you these examples for one thing. I want them through these articles. You can know what quantitative study can do. Second, I want you to have a basic understanding of data analysis. It will facilitate our discussion of the subscript data analysis. Yeah, now you know the basic. At least you can understand the results. Okay. Okay. Now I show you the third one. You can see social exclusion, self-forgiveness, mindfulness, and internet addiction college students. We skip the details and go directly here. Now, I invite you to figure out what is the difference between this article and the second. This is what they want to examine. What is the major difference between this article and this one?
Relations to independent study. Independence variable, dependent variable, and
Mediate. So to put simply, it means that this study examine or we what kind of relationships in this study? What kind of relationship? This is what we call direct relationship. Right? It's a default direct relationship. The
direct.
one moment.
Simple direct.
I can show you this picture. This article, it examines what? It examines this relationship, this kind of relationship, right? In this picture, in this figure, A, B, C, D, then all of them are independent variables, right? They point to dependent variables, right? So here, it represents the direct, simple relationships between the independent and the dependent variables, right? Yeah, direct, simple, and direct relationships. But sometimes the relationships between the independent and the dependent variable could be more complex. Could be more complex. For example, there could be a mediator. Yeah, the mediator, I briefly, later I will discuss in more detail. Now you have a general idea. Mediator. Mediator, it means represents the process. No, needs, I may need to explain more, right? Yes. For example, you know, educational psychologists, researchers in educational psychology, they are very interested in examining what is the relationship between personality and academic performance. Personality and academic performance. For example, have you heard of Big Five personality? Yeah, Big Five personality. Conscientiousness, agreeableness, extroversion, and
openness,
and neuroticism. Yeah, neuroticism. So we reach, there is a generally a general agreement. Conscientiousness is a positive predictor of academic performance, right? Why? Because conscientiousness, this personality is featured by discipline, by order, by hardworking, right? By persistent, being disciplined, self-disciplined, being ordered, being persistent, being hardworking. All of them represents the personality of conscientiousness. Yeah. So think about this. Personality of conscientiousness will have a direct influence on your academic performance. You achieve good academic performance just because you are featured by this personality? Or, do they have the right relationship?
No.
No. Do you agree? So, my question is, just because I'm conscientious, so I have good academic performance. Is that the case? No, absolutely no. It must be like this because you are conscious. You have some specific learning habits. You have some specific learning behaviors. You have some specific learning emotion, motivation. And all of these motivation, emotion, behaviors will result in your performance. right? Which means between personality and academic performance, there must be some phenomenon or some learning related phenomenon take place before you achieve the performance, right? Yeah. What is this phenomenon like behaviors, like motivation, like emotion? What is this? They could be the mediators, right? These are the mediators. These represent the process between the personality and the academic performance. Yeah, it represents a process. Now you may better understand what is mediation. Do you understand a little bit more about mediation? Yeah. So this is mediation. I just give you one example. Now let's come back. Okay, so now you may understand what is the major difference between this article and previous one. It's more complex, right? This merely it merely examines the simple direct relationships between these variables and the willingness. Instead, this article examines more complex relationships between them. Yeah, because we have mediator, because we have also moderator. If we have time, I will explain what is moderator and how to conduct moderating analysis. But today, I just want you to know the key difference. The key difference. So we don't have time to explain more. Okay, this is the third one. So for this article, is there significance in this article? Of course, right? Also significance, but the relationships in this article, they are more complex than previous one, right? So we can examine more or much more complex relationships. Much more complex relationship. Okay, so as a question here, step by step, we can review, we go deeper into the relationships. One moment. Next one. Next one. Okay, I shared the article in the over this article, and as usual, can you tell me what is the what is the key feature of this article? Or what is the key difference from the previous ones? So it's what is the big difference in comparison to the previous articles? What?
We're not only looking at the underlying different variables, but also at the later variable, but also the dimension on the item.
It's look into specific dimensions, right? Yeah, that could be. But anyway, we still examine the relationships. But some may focus on the relationships between the variables. Some others may focus on the relationship between the dimensions of the variables. That could be possible. Okay, so you can see here. Yes, I think it's good because we find that this article it focuses on the dimensions, right? Yeah, how the three dimensions are related to nomophobia. Yeah, but there is bigger difference in here. Bigger difference in here. You pay attention here. We examine this model among 3 samples, or actually 4 samples. Right? You see that? One is combined France and United States. They are combined because they all what? Individualism culture. Individual culture. And also from data from China. You see here, data from China. We also have data from Brazil, right? Brazil. So they use 3 samples by examining this model. It means what? It means what? You can see Brazilian, Chinese, French, and you ask young people, this is what? This is a cross-national comparison. It must be more attractive, right? We can understand the findings from different from people from different cultures. Yeah, that's more interesting. That's more attractive. Yeah. So this is what cross-national, cross-cultural comparison. Yeah. And maybe one more example. Take a look, this one. This one. This is number 5, right? You can see that
It's not
in the what is this difference? What is you can see this examine the relationship between family environment and students' school engagement. Okay, you can see here. This is findings. This is the finding. What is this difference? Anyone try to see that? Try to find the difference between this study and all previous ones. Okay, take a look. What is the big feature here? You can see from 6th grade to 7th grade to 8th grade. What does it mean? From 6th, 7th to 8th grade. This is what? Not here. What? Longitudinal. This is longitudinal study. We track the same participants longitudinally, right? Yeah, we track them from 6th grade to 7th grade to 8th grade. Is this kind of study meaningful? Of course, we can understand the trajectories. Yeah, we can understand the changes. Yeah, and more importantly, we can understand more. What is that? Try to explain. As you can see here, for example, for these studies, these are what we call cross-sectional study. Cross-sectional. What is cross-sectional? Data collection takes place at one time point. It happened at one time point. This is cross-sectional. Well, longitudinal, it means data collection take place at different time points, right? Yeah. So for these cross-sectional studies, we can only know their correlations. We only know they are correlated. We'll never know who is which is what? Which is the antecedent? Which is the consequence? You know, this is the issue of eggs and chicken. So, I mean, for the variables, we, as scholars, we try to understand which takes place first, which takes place later. In one word, the causal inference, the causal relationships. This is what educational scholars trying to resolve. We're trying to resolve causal issues. We try to understand which is the which happens first, which happens next. It's very important. For example, just now we talked about academic motivation, right? And academic performance, right? We say we normally use motivation as the predictor. Yeah. Performance as the outcome. But have you understand? Performance could be also predictor. Motivation could be also outcome. When I achieve better performance, the better performance may reversely, in turn, improve my motivation. It's possible, right? Yeah. So, which influence which? Yeah. But these cross-sectional studies never reveal the causal relationship. What can better interpret the causal relationship? Longitudinal. You can see at the 3 time points, we collect data, same data, not same data, same variables, right? Different family, environment, engagement, and second, and third. Big variables, right? Yeah. So I can use previous family environment to predict later engagement. Right? I can also use previous school engagement to predict later family environment. Right? In this case, can you see this line is significant? Yeah? Asterisk. It means previous family environment will positively influence later student engagement. And you can also see previous school engagement still significantly. Right? Predict later family environment, which also means what? Previous school engagement will positively influence later family environment. So, this is what we call reciprocal. This is reciprocal relationship. Yeah, we can through the longitudinal study, we can better interpret the causal relationship. Causal relationship. Okay. I just give you some examples. Through the several examples, you can know that we can, in quantitative studies, we can achieve different goals. We can examine very complex relationships. Only if you know how to conduct the analysis, you know how to do it, you can examine very complex educational phenomena. Yeah, so that's what you need to No, you need to explore. Yeah, these are only a few examples. We can do many more, many more. Yeah, so I just want you to have an understanding of basic, and a basic understanding what we can do in quantitative studies. Many complex relationships. Yeah, that's it. And we still have around more than 10 minutes. I invite you to fill in the questionnaire. Is it okay? Yeah, please fill in the questionnaire. And Musa,
Yes, Professor.
can you send the instructions and the link in the
Okay.
WeChat?
Okay, Professor.
So first of all, I need to confirm that in the questionnaire, there is no right or wrong answer. You just select the one that best match your opinion, your attitude, your emotion. That's okay. We have altogether 90, around 90 item questions. So it will take you around a little bit more than 10 minutes to complete the questionnaire. And finally, don't forget to follow the instruction to receive your thank you red envelope. Yeah, not much, but as a small thank you. Yeah. So